Welcome back. This is episode 7 of the Relationship Comeback. This is your host, Carter Anderson. Your boy butchered the intro in the actual audio video thing. So I got to redo this. So here it is, episode 7, Cole Trimmer. Shout out to him for coming on. Y'all are going to love this episode. All right, welcome to episode 7 of the Relationship Comeback episode. This is a very special week. It's very special because we got a former VRMer on here, Cole Trimmer. Cole, tell the millions of fans what's up.
What's up, everybody?
There you go. Cole is somebody I had the opportunity to serve my mission with. We were pretty close in timeline. I think we basically served all around 20 months together in the same mission. And so we're pretty had the opportunity to serve around each other a lot. And he's somebody that I look up to in the way that he lives his life and the energy he goes about it. But real quick, before we kind of dive into our conversation today, Cole, do you want to give us a little bit of a background on maybe where you're from, what you're up to now, and kind of give us some insight into where you're at?
Yeah, I grew up in Arizona my whole life. 25 years old now, serving the same mission as Carter here. After my mission, I went to school up in Rexburg for a couple years and then um, took some time off to travel. And then between traveling, I've just been working just kind of seasonally. Currently in Springfield, Illinois, middle of nowhere right now, but it's a good place. I'm just working out here right now for the summer.
That's cool. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, at least for me, like as I go through my journey since being home, I'm like, I don't think I expected to be here, but I'm not like mad at it. Like it's doing all right. So it's kind of fun to kind of go back through and see how we got certain places. One of the reasons I wanted to have Cole on is because his kind of unique perspective into his life is something that I think a lot of people admire, but not a lot of people have the courage to do. And so, Cole, if you want to just give us kind of a brief insight or backstory, and then we can dive into maybe how it relates to this world of relationships and dating. Can you kind of give us some insight and background into maybe how you got into traveling, especially doing it solo, like kind of where does this kind of passion come from, and just kind of give us maybe how you got into this, and then we can dive a little bit further into it.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I've always liked traveling. Like we'd take like a lot of family vacations. Nowhere super crazy. I mean, just little places like living in Arizona, we'd drive out to California. My grandma had a beach house there, so like we'd go there every summer, but throughout high school, that was like the most traveling I had ever done, really. Like we went to Mexico a couple times. I think the biggest trip I ever took was we went to like Hawaii for a week, but other than that, like nowhere super crazy. And then like I was working one summer talking with a friend, and he kind of like planted the idea in my mind, like, hey, let's go backpack Europe for a couple months. I was like, Europe, huh? Like what's over there? Like Italy, good pizza. Like I don't really know too much. And then like next thing you know, like he kind of like my friend at the time kind of flaked out. Like he's like, I don't really want to go. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go by myself. Like I'm just gonna go for like a couple weeks. Just I'm gonna go to like England because like they speak English, and like I'm just gonna go for like a week or two by myself and just kind of see how it is. So like I just went for
Mm,
like not wasn't really planning on going for long, just by myself. Just flew across the ocean, landed in London. And next thing you know, all I had was my backpack and a couple pairs of clothes, and then I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna make a trip out of this. Like I worked hard during the summer, like let's just stay out here for a couple months. So then I took trains across Europe for a couple months, and then just that's when I was like, dude, the world is like such a big place. Like there's
mm,
so many places like I can go. And then soon enough, like I really hadn't like planned on like traveling for as long as I did or like as many places as I did, but like I just kind of got like obsessed with it. And the next thing you know, like after I was traveling through Europe, I found myself traveling through Asia. I was like, wow, this is like there's like whole nother continents and different cultures and religions out there like that I want to explore. And the next thing you know, I just kept going. Just I want to go here, like I'll go here, like just like literally like didn't plan anything, just
Mhm.
kind of booked a flight like days before to like a place I wanted to go, and would just explore a new country for like a couple weeks or even a month in some countries, and just fell in love with it as I went on.
Give us some, I don't, I know you might not have it off the top of your head, but just like kind of give us a run through, maybe not every, single city or whatever, but maybe just like country, like the even just in the past, year or so, like kind of just give us, because again, I think people hear like, oh, a couple month backpacking trip to Europe, like that's cool. It's like, no, 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 like Cole is like always traveling. He's always like every time I check his story, I'm like, it's almost like every time I open up his story on Instagram, it's like, where in the world is Cole going to be? It could be anywhere. It could be India. It could be in Antarctica. So like kind of just give us a run through of maybe the miles you've traveled or the continents you've hit or just some things like that. Just so we know we're not just talking about like weekend trips to Mexico.
Yeah. So it was crazy. Actually, at the end of the year 2024, I had this app that kind of kept track of like all my flights. And I think like the total distance I traveled was like 150,000 miles. It was like 3.7 times I've flown across the globe distance wise.
Hmm.
But yeah, like after like 3 months in Europe, I'd go through like started in London, worked my way all the way to like Italy, Greece, Spain, checked out like a lot of the Western European countries, and then I think like the highlight was like I actually did go to India. You mentioned India, but yeah, I went to India and I saw like kind of like after I went to India, I thought it'd be cool to like visit the different seven wonders of the world in that year. So then I went to Brazil and like China, saw the Great Wall of China and just took my time seeing like the different wonders of the world. I think the highlight, like I spent 6 months in Eastern Asia, like countries like Japan, South Korea, Thailand, the Philippines. I probably spent like on average like 3 weeks in like each of those countries, like Vietnam, the Philippines, Indonesia.
You're just
Like
doing
I
a
just,
transfer in each country.
yeah, like I spent like a transfer in each country, like, and all by myself. Like
Mhm.
90% of my travels was all by myself, and I thought it like when I first started, I'd get lonely, like being away from like friends and family for so long. But I can't tell you like how many friends like I met just like traveling, like other solo travelers or just from different countries. Like I met friends like in South Africa, and they said if I
Mhm.
ever visit South Africa, I can stay with them. And like I met friends that lived in like France or like yeah, Vietnam. Like I'd go to like different branches and wards too, like as I traveled, and it was cool to see like I'd go to like a ward in Vietnam and like they're speaking Vietnamese, but like they had like people translating for English people. Like so that was super cool to see
Yeah,
too. Like I tried my best while I was on the road to like go to different wards and branches.
that's way cool. Yeah, and I even just think that that kind of leap of faith is something like to like I'm gonna try and go do this on my own. Because again, I don't know if you've felt this way, but it was like I came home and it's kind of like, all right, I'll get married within a year or two, and then me and my wife can go and travel. Like I think everybody like kind of has that idea in mind. Or I'll start having kids and I'll buy a house and I'll pursue this passion, I'll pursue this. But you kind of in your mind, at least for me, for a couple of years, it was kind of like I'll wait to do that until I get married, or I'll wait to start living my life until, I find my person, and then I'll go out and travel, or and then I'll go out and pursue this passion or whatever it might be. And that's one thing that I think your perspective and your experience brings a lot of value to people in this stage of life is like, all right, well, at some point you kind of sit there and you're like, all right, well, I'm not married right now. So do I live my life or do I keep putting things off? What do I kind of do there? And so I would love to hear kind of your thoughts and perspective. And maybe this has changed over time, but kind of how did you get the courage or just like the push to be like, or even just the confidence to be like, I'm gonna do this. Like I'm gonna go out. And even after that first trip, you're like, I'm gonna continue to do this. Kind of walk us through that thought process of like, I'm gonna live my life, even if I'm not married, even if I don't have kids. Like I'm just gonna go out and live, and kind of help us understand how you kind of came to that mindset of like this is how I'm gonna live my life.
Yeah, no, like I thought like towards the end of my mission, especially like I always thought like in my mind like okay, I'm gonna get home like I'm gonna like meet someone, like I'm gonna get married like pretty quickly. Like, but like that's not the case. Like I've been home for well, we've been home for like
We've been
6
home
years
for
now,
forever now.
forever. So obviously, and I'm not married, and but like that's fine with me. And like my
Mhm.
plans changed completely. I think everyone, I think everyone should like take a solo trip at some point in their lives. Like that doesn't need like you don't need to go to a new country, but I think the yeah, like the year and a half I've spent traveling solo, like I've learned so much like about myself, kind of about what I want, and it's just really eye-opening. And you just get a whole different perspective on life that I feel like oh yeah, obviously like when I get married, like I'll want to travel with my
Mhm.
wife, like
You're
that'll be
like, I'm
something
gonna
that
take a solo trip while you're married. You're like, I
yeah.
need to go by myself. No.
Yeah, hopefully my wife lets me go by myself sometimes, but obviously I'd love to marry someone that likes to travel,
Mhm.
but I'm glad I'm getting like to do this now. Like I think it'd just be super cool to like I'm like filled with stories from like these
Mhm.
places I've been that I can like share with my kids and like show my wife one day like places that I've been, It's like I don't know, I just it's been very eye-opening going to these different places.
What has that done for you? Because again, like even myself, I catch myself in this of like I'm just gonna grind it out. I'm gonna wait. This time is just supposed to be miserable, and I'm supposed to be sad because I'm not married. And then I'm like, what am I doing? Like I'm not finding a lot of joy or having these great experiences that can be had. What has that done for you to be like, I'm not putting stuff on hold. I'm not putting stuff on pause. I'm gonna go out and live my life. Like you said, you've learned a lot about yourself and things like that. What has that done for you? To be like, I'm not putting things on pause. I'm gonna go out and do kind of what I want to do. I'm gonna explore the world. I'm gonna, chase my passion of this.
Yeah, something that really kind of helped me make that push before I went on my first solo trip. I actually asked my mom what she thought. I thought she like would be nervous for me going to like obviously she was a little nervous before I left on my first solo trip, like any parent would. But she actually strongly encouraged it, and something she told me kind of like resonated with me. But she said when she was in college, she had like an opportunity to do a semester abroad and live in Italy for a year, but she didn't do it.
Hmm.
She passed up on it, and she's always said like if I could go back, like I would do that. Like I'm not gonna get that opportunity again to where I can just go and live in Italy for a year. Like that time's passed for me. So it's basically just like told me like live my life with no regrets. Like for me, like yeah, it'd be cool to own a house. Like it'd be cool to like own my new car, like own these material possessions. And I'm sure I will have a house one day and stuff like that. But right now, like for me, what makes me happy is like I just like spending money on like experiences.
Hmm.
And I think that's for me, like I feel rich, not rich in like temporal things, but rich in like experiences. Um,
Can
yeah.
I ask how does that kind of bleed into your perspective on relationships, not even just in dating, but just with other people, that perspective of investing in, experiences, I'm investing in kind of joy and passion versus, a house or shoes or a car or clothes. Like how does that perspective of kind of searching for meaning versus temporal things, how does that bleed into kind of your relationships in your life?
Yeah, I think when like in any relationship you want to like meet someone that you can make memories with and make experiences with. Like life's a journey and like those experiences you make along the way, like it'd be awesome to like share these kind of experiences with like someone you meet and just like from my travels, from people I've met, like I've had the opportunity to like go on dates with other girls from other countries, and like I even like had a girlfriend in Vietnam for like a couple months, which
There
was
you
which
go.
was cool. Like I don't know,
Trimmer's
just like
spitting game worldwide.
yeah, like before I traveled, like I always thought like I would like marry a girl that lived in like from Provo, Utah
Right.
or something. But like there's not saying that you have to marry a member of the church, but there's like the church is like all over the world, and
Mhm.
like there's girls and people you can meet and have relationships with from a whole different culture, and it's just like cool to learn about that. So now like I'm a lot more open to maybe I won't marry someone from the US. Maybe I won't even live in the US my whole life. Maybe I could totally see myself living abroad and raising a family in another country and like making experiences. Like the world's a big place. Like I'm glad I've given myself like a chance to like see the world, to kind of see what else is out there.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, anytime you experience something that kind of pushes against your beliefs, it causes you to kind of reevaluate, be like, all right, well, where am I at with this? Whether it's with God, relationships, just, core beliefs you have about the world or the universe. And so I would imagine traveling the world has kind of caused a lot of those moments for you of like, all right, this is, I grew up in Arizona. I went to school in Rexburg. I lived for 2 years in Virginia, and now I'm here in India or Vietnam, and this is what this people's life is like, or this people's experience. I'd be curious how traveling the world has kind of started to shape your perspective on dating. I know you kind of started uh, um, kind of getting into that with like people and maybe places, but maybe more your perspective on what you're looking for or what's important. Kind of how has your travels influenced that perspective of like this is what I'm looking for, this is important to me, or these are characteristics that I see, do really well across the board all over the world. What would be kind of your initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think like I was saying, like obviously like there's core values that are important to me. Like I want someone that like has faith in God, like that has a strong testimony, stuff like that. But it kind of made me like less picky on like other things. Like I don't care like if they like the same movies as me, or I don't care if they like sports like me. Like
Mhm.
I don't know, it just kind of like teaches me like there's like core beliefs and there's core things that I want, and like you can find that like anywhere in the world, like not just in Utah or at BYU. Like there's like 7 billion people on the world, right? And like there's just so many opportunities out there to meet different people and like go on different dates to kind of find what you want or find someone that you like connect with, and you just have like so many opportunities to like meet those people. And I also think it's important to realize like just date at your own pace. Like
Mhm.
I think it's important not to rush. Like I'm like again, like I'm 25 and like I have some friends that are older than me that aren't married, and that's perfectly fine. I have some friends that are a couple years younger than me and already are married, and some of them already have kids. Like everyone's on their own journey. So I think it's just important to not rush meeting someone. Like just take your time and like obviously like, ponder and pray with the Lord like on what's important to you and what's important for the relationship.
Yeah.
Um, but I also like for me, like I used to like kind of compare myself to other people's lives. Like, oh, like my best friend's already married and has like 2 kids. Like, what am I doing with my life? But like, I don't think that way anymore. Like everyone's on their own journey, like just live your life how you want, do what makes you happy, and then you'll find someone along the way. It'll just kind of happen, I think.
I would be curious, have you had any experiences while traveling that have kind of caused you to gain that perspective of like I'm not comparing myself anymore. Like I'm just gonna live my life. Like at least for me, I would imagine if you're traveling, especially if you see people living in poverty or living in circumstances different from you, that kind of causes a moment like a gut check moment of like, all right, is my perspective on the world and life legit? I would be curious if you've had any experiences or any stories where you're like, this experience completely changed my perspective, or these couple of experiences, things like that. Does anything come to mind?
There's nothing like I don't think there's any like specific experience, but just kind of over time, like I've been to some like third world countries where like people don't really have much. And I've also been to like countries where there's really not a lot of like members, and it's kind of hard for like members to date other
Mhm.
members out there. Um, and I just think that I feel like I've been super blessed to like be able to put myself in positions where, I feel fortunate to have grown up where I've grown up, like not have struggle with like, because I've been to like some poor countries, poor cities, like it's crazy. Like $100 there is like in some of these countries you're like rich. Like $100 there can last you like weeks, which is crazy. And it makes me feel blessed and fortunate with what I have, and also makes me more like one to like give and to help others. Um, but yeah, when I dated that girl in Vietnam, she like it was like kind of eye-opening because she grew up like in a tiny village in the mountains of Vietnam, and like her and her siblings would have to
Sounds
like
like the
bathe.
start to a movie.
Yeah, literally. She would like tell me stories like growing up, she would like have to take a bath in the river by her village because they didn't have running water. They didn't have AC, like they didn't have like a Walmart they could go buy food at. Like what you see in like movies of how people live in like those
Mhm.
mountain villages, it literally sounded like that. Like I couldn't like growing up, I couldn't even like comprehend not having like AC or having to take a shower in like the lake. Like that's just stuff just comes like second nature to us. But that's like how people live, and like those people that live like that, they like something a lot of us have in common is a belief in Jesus Christ. And it's just kind of cool. Like it doesn't matter where we come from or like how much money we come from, but there's just like more important things in life, and it's kind of made me like not care too much about like material things. Like I was saying earlier, it's like there's just way more important things in life and things to look for in someone.
Yeah, well, and again, like here, especially in Utah, like I think a lot of people are dating based off of things you have or like what you can bring to the table, like how nice of a car does he have, what does his family do for work, all these type of things. I think that can become really difficult if you're dating for material things, and I like that perspective of like I'm looking for someone I can like really bond with over the things that really matter, like a relationship with Jesus Christ, or are you a good person, or can we help other people. I would be curious if you have any date ideas that have worked across the world, any fun dates that you went on that you're like, all right, obviously maybe you can't do that in Utah, but maybe some good date stories or ideas. You're like, that was pretty fun that maybe we could implement here in Utah or in the United States.
Um, that's so funny because uh honestly, I kind of just do the basic your bowling. I would honestly do like your basic bowling dates,
It works
or
everywhere.
it works everywhere. Your bowling dates or visit the local temple. Like I went to the temple like in Rome, Italy with the girl, like stuff like you would do in Utah. Like I went
Mhm.
bowling, I went hiking, went to get food. So I wish I had like something more creative. I guess like going to the Rome temple is like something you can't do in Utah, but
Right. That's cool. Yeah, yeah,
they work everywhere. Yeah.
it works everywhere. That's good to know. Well, it's not working here, so maybe I need to go elsewhere and then it will work there. So we'll see how that goes. I would love to know your thoughts, kind of maybe getting towards the end of our conversation here on just in your experience, dating in Rexburg. I mean, you've hit the big three. You got Arizona, Utah, Rexburg, and then, worldwide in your experience in dating and all of the successes or failures or setbacks or things like that. What have been some of the things that you've noticed? You're like, man, I wish this was happening more, or I wish this would stop happening, so that we can more get into the mindset kind of you're in of like, it's okay. We're all on our different timelines. We're all kind of doing different things versus kind of living in this almost pressure cooker of I'm 21 and I've been home from my mission for a year and I feel like a failure because I'm not married. So what have been some of the things you've observed in all of your experience since being home that you're like, I wish we could start to do this so that we could get into a healthier space surrounding dating and relationships and things like that.
Yeah, I think like as I was like a couple years ago when I was first going to Rexburg, um, a lot of the dates I would go on, and like, I'd see this like with my friends too. Like some people just wanted to get married so quick. I feel like it was like a kind of almost a culture thing. Like you meet someone, you go on like 2 or 3 dates with them, and then already like they wanted to rush into like getting engaged and getting married. But then I found like outside of like the Utah bubble and the Rexburg bubble, like it's not so much like that.
Mhm.
Like people kind of like take their time. Like there doesn't seem like there's a pressure to make things happen quick. It kind of I feel like both parties just kind of let it go at their own pace better. And it was super nice because I don't think there should be any pressure from either party to rush into getting married. Like I think obviously like yeah, you date to meet someone to marry, but just because you've met someone and you're having like a good time with them, you don't need to immediately think about marrying them, just like have fun, take your time. get to know who the person really is. Like, there's no time limit on if you want to get married in 3 months after knowing someone, cool. But if like you want to take your time and take a year, like whatever you guys are comfortable with, like don't rush it. I
Why
just
do
feel like
you,
that's less prevalent outside of like BYU, especially where I
I was
went.
just gonna ask, why do you think they have that perspective, or how did they gain that? Because again, like I don't know about you, but I'm in my departing interview coming home, president was like, go home and get married as fast as you can. So again, that probably does not help this. But just that idea of like it's okay. Like why do you think people outside Utah have that perspective, or why do you think you've gained that perspective?
Yeah, like you, like I remember my department interview, same thing, get home, get married. And I think just growing up, like obviously we know like getting married in the temple is important. Like that should be a goal of ours. Like that's important. And I feel like a lot of times people get kind of worried that they because that's like one of the saving ordinances. Like you need someone else for. Like you can't
Mhm.
do that on your. It's not like you can get baptized or endowed by yourself. You need a partner to help you with that. So I feel like a lot of maybe sometimes people get worried and like they don't want to get like hit 30 or 40 years old and like not have that yet. But then on the other flip side of that, like there's like 7 billion people in the world. Like I don't believe in like soulmates. Like
Mhm.
I think the idea of soulmates personally is like dumb. Like there's not just one person for you to marry. Like there's many different people, and I think once you like realize that, like then you just like stop stressing about it. I feel like it just becomes like easier.
I would love to know if there's anything you like, at least for me, because again, like I do feel that pressure. Like I do want to be married. I do want to have a family, stuff like that. Is there anything you've done maybe outside of traveling to try and kind of become more comfortable with the universe's timing or God's timing on whenever this happens, it's going to happen like it, and I'm just going to do that. Is there anything you've done to try and kind of become comfortable with that feeling or that kind of reality of like it's okay. Like I don't have to come home and get married in 4 months. Like if I'm 30, if I'm 35, if I'm 27, like whatever, to almost kind of make peace with that. Is there anything you've done or anything you found helpful or anything you found not helpful in that?
Yeah, again, so I um I was actually visiting someone on my mission like a couple years ago, and I think I was like 20, I was like 22 at the time, and I actually had this conversation with her where I was like, yeah, like kind of frustrated, like I'm not dating anyone right now, and like a lot of my other friends from the mission and are like already married, and a lot of them are already having kids. Like, am I like too old to get married? And she just laughed. She's like, no, like you're young. Like, and in reality, like me and you, like we are young. Like
Right.
we're like 20, we're not even 30, like not even 30s old. Like I just think again, like I know plenty of people in their mid 30s that aren't married and they're super happy. And like they're just working, like either traveling or just living their life. And
Mhm.
again, like obviously I want to get married. I hope to get married like soon. Like there's kind of like a number in my head where would like to be married by then, but like I'm not gonna stress about it. Like if I hit that number and I'm still not married, like I'm still happy. I'm still doing what makes me happy, and I plan on traveling while I'm single, and I plan on traveling even after I'm married.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I feel like people just gotta get out their comfort zone. Like be okay with like being alone for sometimes. Like I used to think it was weird going to eat at a restaurant by yourself or going to the movies by yourself. But like after like solo traveling, like I can't tell you how many times sometimes I've gone to like a movie theater by myself
Yeah.
and I don't even like feel bad about it anymore. So I feel like people that aren't like comfortable doing that, maybe like obviously it'd be nice to have like a wife and a companion to do that stuff with, but I feel like if you get comfortable and be happy like doing those small things by yourself, it just kind of like the pressure isn't very pressured on you anymore.
That's one thing, just as I've been doing this and in my singlehood journey, like the more I'm learning, like if you can't be alone with yourself, I really don't think you're going to be able to maintain a very healthy relationship with somebody else. Like, and again, I don't fully understand why that is, but it's becoming more and more clear to me how important it is to be able to be comfortable with yourself, like in being by yourself. And I would imagine, like you're saying, solo traveling does that a lot because you're like, I'm flying on this plane by my, like, even when I travel for work on my own, I feel kind of like a loser. I'm like, I'm walking down this airplane aisle. Everyone's looking at me like, what a loser. And I'm like, it's all in my head, but it's like this unique pressure that we kind of face in Utah. Cause like you were saying, in outside of Utah, like people are 30 and they're like, okay, maybe I'll start taking dating seriously now. And it's like, we've been taking dating pretty seriously for a long time. So it's almost this perspective and pressure that we're almost like, I wouldn't say forced into, but it's just our culture. And so learning how to, like you're saying, put yourselves in positions to be uncomfortable, to like sit with yourself. I think that's really smart to be like, all right, I'm trying to break away from this so that I can have a healthier view of dating. And I think that's something not you're not just saying, but you live. And that's something that I really appreciate about your perspective and your experience. Just in closing, I would love to know, give us some tips if we want to start solo traveling, maybe where are some good places to go? How do you start? Kind of just give us a quick kind of run through, and then we'll give people an opportunity to reach out to you if they have any further questions about that.
Yeah, I think good tips for starting, like if you want to travel solo and you're scared, I think good my first tip would like go somewhere where people speak English. Like my first solo trip I went to London and people spoke English, so already like I felt comfortable like not having a language barrier. But even simpler than that, I'd suggest just go like on a road trip by yourself. Like if you live in Utah, go drive to like southern Utah or somewhere. There's so many beautiful places you can go and like just go camping or get an Airbnb and just do something that you don't have to fly to another country or even fly at all. You just go somewhere you want to go. And like if no one wants to go with you, just go by yourself. Don't like miss out on those memories because people don't want to go with you. And that's another thing too. It's like like my friend when I was planning my first solo trip with my friend, like we were planning to go together and like he didn't want to go with me. And not very many people would just agree to go to Europe for like 3 months and drop everything. So I was like, if I just keep waiting for my friends or other people to go with me, like there's a chance I may never go. So when I realized that, I decided just go, just book that flight or book that hotel and just go. If even no one wants to go with you, like you'll still have fun. Like I promise, like make the most out of it. Don't wait.
Yeah, well, I love it. It's just like just do it. Like even
Yeah.
if it doesn't like I wasn't even thinking like just take a drive to St. George, drive to California, like whatever. Just if there's something you want to do and experience it, you don't have to wait for other people to do that. That doesn't even just apply to that applies to everybody, even if you are married. Like if there's stuff you want to do with your spouse, go and do it. And the last guest I had on my podcast, she just talked about like people over monetary value every single time, all the time, experiences over those type of things. And I think that's a perspective that you're just re-emphasizing to me today is how important it is to spend time with people to have experiences versus getting caught up in kind of the crappy things of life. Any final thoughts from you, things you want to make sure you say or experiences you've had that you feel might relate or anything like that before we hop off?
No, I guess is one thing, but yeah, I guess like I like if I like any advice, it would just be kind of just live your life. Just do what makes you happy. I think the worst thing you could do is compare yourself to other people in their journey. Like, don't do that. Don't ever compare people where they're at in life to where you are in life. Like, um, it's like I think Mark Zuckerberg, he became a millionaire like age 25, and but like Elon Musk became like a millionaire after he was like 40 years old. It's like that in life, you know.
Mhm.
Don't like obviously there's a starting point, like we're all born on this earth, and like then there's an ending point. Well, there's not really an ending point, but you know what I mean. It's
Right.
like it doesn't matter how long it takes to get there, or it's just about the journey and what you do with your life, and just don't live with like no regrets, I'd say.
Basically, what you're saying is YOLO. That's how we should live life.
YOLO, but a responsible YOLO.
Responsibly. I love it. Well, where can people reach you? Do you get tell us your Instagram handle or TikTok, or if somebody's interested in learning about solo traveling, or if they want to follow your journeys and things like that, tell us where we or maybe if there's international ladies listening, hit them up. Where can we find you?
Yeah, I'd suggest my Instagram would be best. My Instagram handle is CJ Trim, Trimm, and on my profile you'll immediately see like all my travel bubbles and posts of my travels. If you want to reference any of those places, I just have each country as its own highlight. And then, yeah, you message me on there and with any questions, I'd be happy. I love helping. I love when people ask me about traveling. I'm just super passionate about it. So I'm always down to like, give advice or tips on what to do or see if you want to go somewhere. Or if you need a travel buddy, let me
Yeah,
know.
I was gonna say travel buddy. There you go. But well, I appreciate you making time. I know you're busy with your summer job and things like that, and I appreciate you making the time to come on here and share your wisdom. And I just appreciate the example you're setting for me because again, I'm sure you know that's not all happy all the time. You're like, man, life's pretty tough, or there's some tough things going on. And to me, I appreciate the light that you're bringing by the way that you live and just being like, I'm going to go out and experience things now. I'm going to go out and live things now. And it's always a great reminder to me when I see your stories. Again, I'm probably never going to fly around the world 3 times, but I can do that in my own way. There's things I can do to what can I do to enjoy the time today. And so I appreciate your example in doing that for me. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, this has been episode 7 where we're learning to become the one so we can attract the one. We'll see y'all next time.